Hey folks, welcome to our Working with Slider components. We're going to talk about the Nivo Slider. Now, some of the things we can do with the Nivo Slider, we can add and remove slides, we can change the image, we can change the text caption, and we can actually change the maximum width as well. In this case, changing the maximum width will also allow for a bit of a taller picture. Let me show you a before and after example of what I'm referring to. Here's our default site, our working default template we've been doing our videos with, and this is the Nivo Slider right here. Here's an updated version. Here's a bit of something we've tweaked for this particular video display. We've added more pictures down here, changed the captions. What you'll notice is, if you can just sort of see it in the video here, is the width of the image here is about 900 pixels for the default. In this particular example, over here it's actually 990 pixels. It's a little bit wider and a little bit taller, and it also pushes the background of the page down a little bit. Depending on your template, it may work to have large images or smaller images. Smaller should work no matter what. But if you want larger pictures, it may or may not work well. It really depends on the template and the aesthetics and the background and things like that, because there may be different frameworks where the Nivo Slider is wrapped around and that fit very well with the existing image size, or there may be situations in this particular template where we have just the entire background, it stretches to fit larger pictures. The cool thing about the Nivo Slider is that it's responsive. As the page gets larger and smaller, so does the Nivo Slider. So it works very well on your mobile devices and tablets and things like that. So let's just jump into it and talk about the things that we're going to be updating in the Nivo Slider. Okay, so let's return to our editor. Let's go to the library, sliders, and the Nivo Slider folder. Inside the images folder is where we have the pictures. Now, I've talked about this before. If we're going to be replacing images in an existing component, the fastest and easiest way to do it is to get your replacement pictures, make sure they're the same size as the default pictures, and name them the same. Let me show you what I mean. I've got my for zoo assets, I've got my slider images, and my default folder here. I've created 4 pictures, and I've named them Portfolio Very Large 1, 2, 3, and 4 to match the file names over here. All right. If you name them the same, drag and drop them into the folder, it'll update the existing component, and that's all you have to do. Here's an example. Well, first of all, the image size, if you click on the default image size, it tells you right here up at the top. So if you're not working with Expression Web 4 yet, I really recommend you go get it. It's free. It's a fantastic editor. As far as I'm concerned, it's going to be a relevant tool. Although it's free, it's going to be relevant for years and years to come, because HTML, it works with HTML5 and CSS3. So what more can you ask for? Anyways, picture size. Click the picture, it'll tell you the default size. And of course, I say that, and the pictures I have are a little bit larger, but I had to do that for my demonstration because I do want to show how you can use a larger picture in here. But create yours at the same size to start with, just make sure it looks good. Just drag your pictures over right into the images folder, overwrite, make sure confirm save, and bang. Now you've got 4 new pictures in there, and then you just have to go in and change the captions. If you want to add more pictures or remove pictures, what I'm going to suggest you do is try and do that ahead of time. Open up your Nivo Slider page, switch to code view, and you'll see up top here we've numbered the 4 existing slides, 1, 2, 3, and 4. So they're nice and neat and tidy. It's easy to copy and paste when it's in this format. Right? I just click on the number 4 here beside one of the existing pics, and I copy. And to add more images, I put my cursor down below and I paste. Control V on my keyboard. 2, 3, 4. Right? Once I've done that, the first thing I do is I change the title over here. The title connects to the ID down below. So that's how when a picture is displayed up here, it knows what caption to display from down here lower in the page. And if you're not sure what that means, you switch to code view, and there's the captions right here. Example of, oh, there it is. This is an example of HTML with a link. This text here will be displayed when one of the pictures are displayed. But of course, it's all done through CSS and JavaScript, so it works quite nicely. So I change my image 4 to image 5, 6, 7, and 8. First thing I do when I add more images, I make sure they're all sequential. Then I go down below and I do the same with the captions. I copy caption number 4, and I make a little bit of white room here for the little bit extra white space, and I paste once, twice, 3, and 4 times. And what I'm going to do is, so there's image 3, image 4, so this should be image 5. So basically I change my comment tag, my ID, and my comment tag right down here. All right, and what I do is I'm actually going to put a number 5 there where the word this is, just so when I switch over to the design view, 5, okay, now it makes sense, I know where I'm at. I just keep going, using the same process here. 6 and 6 and 7 and 7 and 7 and 7. Even if you just put the number at the beginning of the sentence, like this is going to be 8 here, I'm going to change this to 8, put the number 8 in here, and then 8. So that way when I'm in the design window and I'm changing my text, I can actually see which number 8 is, okay? That's just a trick I use. So what we've done is we've added images, we've added captions for those images, we've updated the linkage to say that image 5 will display the image 5 text down here. To change a picture, same way you've changed all the other pictures and all the other components you've probably worked with by this point, is once you've imported them into your folder. Okay, so let's pick Golf 1 through Golf 8. Oops. Okay, now that I've undone my fat fingering, I've got my Golf 1 through 8 here. I'm just going to drag and drop them into my images folder. There we go. Now I can make it fairly simple and fast. There's my existing pictures, and you'll see that because I've duplicated image number 4 a few times, it's going to show up in my design view a few times. I just start at the top picture, double click, hit the browse, go to my library, go to my sliders, go to my Nivo Slider, my images folder, and finally I can actually see the picture. So I'm going to select Golf 1, hit do, and OK. And once I've used the picture properties tool, I'm going to go back in, go to the appearance tab, and then deselect the specify size, so that way it's now a responsive image. It will be sized by the style sheet for the responsive.css for smaller devices. Continue on through the entire process. Browse, Golf 2 in this case, OK, double click, appearance, deselect. Okay, so we've got that part down pat. Right, once you've done that, then you can simply go down below here and you can change the text within the caption. And what I like to do is just sort of click on the text here, or actually, well, normally what I do is I sort of backspace everything out until I just have one word left. Keep the first word. The reason is that way it stays wrapped in your div. See this class up here of Nivo HTML, right? Then what you can do is just make sure that's selected, and this is my. No, let me just see. That was a good example of how to mess something up. You want to make sure everything stays inside this div of Nivo, right? So just double click on the one word that's remaining and then immediately start typing, this is my new, right? So it's still wrapped within the Nivo caption. If I were actually look at it in code view, there's the class of Nivo caption, and then there's the ending class, and everything is inside the way I want it. That's just a little trick there for making sure that things stay with where they're supposed to stay down here. Okay, so we've talked about adding images. We've changed the images. Now there's changing the image sizes. That's pretty much the last thing, and it's sort of governed by the height and the width and the ratio. But you can change one additional thing, and that's the max width. If we actually go into our Nivo Slider CSS folder and open up the nivoslider.css, see we have a max width right here in line 17 of 900 pixels. Well, you may want to up that. And let's just take a look at where we are right now with our Nivo Slider in a demonstration. And then I can show you the difference by changing that. Right, so take a look at this one here, and this is our original one. You see that? That's the original width, 900 by 280. Right, and this is a ratioed. It's still 900 pixels, right? It's a little bit taller, but as we allow the maximum width to expand out, the picture will become a little bit taller. The reason being is the aspect ratio is maintained so that you don't get some blurry, goofy looking picture. You know, if you're going to allow code to increase and decrease the width of your picture, at least the best thing we can do is make sure at least the aspect ratio is maintained so it doesn't look like a blurry, squished little picture. But the width is still 900 pixels, but the actual picture is 990, so it's been sort of compressed down a little bit. You can change the max width in the Nivo Slider to match your actual image size. And then when you, let's just refresh the page, this should grow a little bit by about 45 pixels a side and get a little bit taller now. And there it is, yeah, a little bit taller, and it also pops out a little bit there. So really that's it.